There's no pain like watching a woman walk away after saying you're not the one. It feels like the ground disappears under your feet. But what happens when the same woman suddenly shows up again? And suddenly, you're torn between hope and suspicion. Why now? Why you? And why after all this time? I'm Vernon, and today I'll reveal 4 real reasons women return after rejecting a man, and how to know which one you're facing. Because this isn't just about her choices. It's about protecting your heart, your dignity, and your future. She walks away, only to return months or years later. And you, confused, hopeful, unsure why. Her return isn't always about love. Often it's timing, growth, or needs she couldn't admit before. Before we dive deep into these truths that could change how you see relationships forever, hit that like button and subscribe, so you'll never miss the tools that help you protect your heart and build the love you truly deserve. The journey back often begins with a simple truth. Sometimes it takes time apart for her to truly see your worth. Number 1, she realizes your value with time. The first reason women come back is perhaps the most genuine. Distance has given her clarity about your worth. Maya Angelou once said it beautifully: "When people show you who they are, believe them the first time." But sometimes we're too caught up in the moment to truly see who someone is showing us they are. Time has a way of filtering out the noise. When you're no longer in her daily life, she begins to notice the absence of things she took for granted. Your consistency, your kindness, the way you listened without trying to fix everything, the stability you offered that she dismissed as boring. My sister's friend, Florence, a vibrant 55-year-old teacher who'd rejected David, a gentle contractor who'd been pursuing her. She found him too predictable, too safe. She wanted excitement, passion, the kind of love that kept her awake at night. So she said no and began dating men who gave her that rush, charming, unpredictable men who made her heart race. 2 years later, Florence found herself emotionally exhausted. The excitement she'd craved came with chaos. Men who disappeared for days, who were passionate one moment and cold the next, who never remembered the small details that mattered to her. One particularly difficult evening, after another man had canceled their weekend plans to chase some business opportunity, Florence found herself thinking about David. She remembered how he'd call when he said he would, how he'd ask about her students and actually remember their names weeks later, how he'd never made her question where she stood with him. The predictability she'd once found boring now felt like the rarest gift: reliability. When Florence reached out to David, she wasn't the same woman who'd rejected him. She'd learned the difference between excitement and genuine care, between passion and commitment. She'd realized that the man she'd dismissed as too safe was actually offering something precious: security built on genuine affection. This type of return often comes with a different energy. She's not just curious or nostalgic, she's appreciative. She sees qualities in you that experience has taught her to value. She's learned that a man who shows up consistently might not give you butterflies every day, but he gives you something better: peace of mind.
When a woman returns because she's realized your value, she typically doesn't just slide back casually. She acknowledges her previous judgment. She's grown enough to recognize what she missed and mature enough to admit it. But not every woman comes back because of newfound appreciation. Sometimes what pulls her back is unfinished emotion that never really went away.
Number 2, she still has emotional attachment. Rejection doesn't erase emotional bonds, and that's why many women still find themselves drawn back. Here's a truth about human psychology that Sigmund Freud captured perfectly. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Sometimes a woman rejects a man not because she doesn't feel something, but precisely because she does. Think about it. Emotional attachment can be frightening, especially when it comes at the wrong time or in circumstances that feel too complicated. Maybe she was already in a relationship. Maybe she was dealing with personal issues that made vulnerability feel impossible. Maybe she was scared of how much she was starting to care. But emotions don't follow logic or timing. They linger, they whisper, they create a curiosity that grows stronger with time, not weaker. She might have rejected you to protect herself, but part of her remained emotionally connected to the possibility of what you two could be. This type of return often feels different from the first. She might reach out tentatively, testing the waters. She's not necessarily ready to dive in, but she needs to know if what she felt was real, if what you two shared was as meaningful as her memory insists it was. The attachment might manifest as curiosity about your life. She finds herself checking your social media, asking mutual friends about you, or simply wondering, what if? The connection you built didn't disappear when she said no. It went underground, growing in the quiet spaces of her mind. Have you ever had someone come back into your life and you could feel that unresolved emotional energy between you? That sense of unfinished business? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else understand what they're going through. Women in their 60s and beyond are particularly prone to this type of return because life experience has taught them how rare genuine connection actually is. They've learned that chemistry doesn't come along every day, and dismissing it might have been premature. When she returns due to emotional attachment, there's often an intensity to the reconnection. Conversations go deep quickly. There's an acknowledgement of the time that's passed, but also a sense that you're picking up a conversation that was never really finished. But here's what you need to understand. Emotional attachment alone isn't enough for a healthy relationship. If the circumstances that led to her initial rejection haven't changed, you might find yourselves in the same cycle. The attachment is real, but attachment without compatibility or timing is just a beautiful frustration. This is why you need wisdom, not just hope, when she returns. Feel honored that the connection was strong enough to bring her back, but also be honest about whether anything fundamental has actually changed. Emotional ties are powerful, but they're not always enough. Sometimes what makes her return isn't about feelings at all. It's about life finally making room for love.
Number 3. Her life or priorities have shifted. Love often returns when the timing finally aligns, when the storms that once kept two people apart have cleared. At our age, life comes with responsibilities and complications that younger people rarely face. Aging parents, demanding careers, children who still need us, financial pressures, health concerns. These realities can make even the most promising connection feel impossible to pursue. But life is constantly changing, and sometimes those changes create space where none existed before. At 62, Helga joined a local gardening club, never expecting to meet someone like Robert. Their conversations flowed effortlessly, laughter came easily, and their shared love for community made them feel aligned. Still, when Robert asked to date her, Helga turned him down with kindness. Her 83-year-old mother had just been diagnosed with early-stage dementia, and Helga had moved her into her home. Between managing her mother's medical appointments, ensuring she didn't wander at night, and trying to maintain her own job as a librarian, Helga barely had energy for herself, let alone a relationship. It broke her heart to say no to Robert, but she knew she couldn't be present for anyone else. For 4 years, Helga devoted herself to her mother's care. She watched this strong woman who had raised 5 children gradually forget their names, their faces, their shared history. It was beautiful and heartbreaking and all-consuming. Robert remained a friend from a distance, occasionally sending her articles about plants or checking in with a brief text, but he respected her boundaries. When Helga's mother passed peacefully in her sleep, Helga found herself, at 62, suddenly free for the first time in years. Not just free from caregiving, but free from the guilt that had accompanied every moment of joy during her mother's illness. Free to think about her own happiness without feeling selfish. 6 months after the funeral, Helga reached out to Robert, not because she'd had some grand realization about his worth. She'd always known he was special. Not because of unresolved emotional attachment, though the fondness had never disappeared. She returned because, finally, for the first time in years, she had the emotional and practical space to let someone matter to her. This type of return often comes with a different kind of maturity. She's not the same person who rejected you. Life has changed her, taught her things, freed her from obligations or mindsets that once seemed permanent. She might be newly divorced after a long marriage, or recently retired from a demanding career, or finally at peace with decisions that once caused her constant worry. As Aristotle wisely observed in his everyday wisdom, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Sometimes a woman needs to go through certain life experiences before she truly knows what she wants and what she can offer. And finally, the reason a woman returns has nothing to do with love or timing, but with her own need for comfort in difficult times.
Number 4. She seeks comfort, not commitment. Sometimes a woman comes back, not out of love, but out of need, for comfort, validation, or simply the reassurance that someone still cares. This is the return you need to recognize most clearly, because it's the one most likely to leave you confused and hurt if you mistake her intentions. Carl Jung captured this human tendency perfectly in his observations. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Sometimes a woman reaches out not because she's resolved her feelings about you, but because she's struggling with something else entirely and remembers that you made her feel better about herself. Maybe she's going through a difficult divorce and remembers how valued you made her feel. Maybe she's facing loneliness after children moved away and recalls your warm companionship. Maybe she's dealing with health concerns and remembers your caring nature.
The return isn't really about renewed romantic interest. It's about emotional first aid. This type of return often has telltale signs. The conversations tend to focus more on her current struggles than on the two of you. She might seek your advice, your comfort, your reassurance, but shy away from discussions about the future or what her reaching out means. There's often an unspoken understanding that this isn't about building something together. It's about her getting through something difficult. If you're finding value in understanding these patterns, save this video to share with a friend who might need this wisdom, or to return to when you need clarity about someone's true intentions. Women in their 60s and beyond are particularly susceptible to this type of outreach because life has often delivered losses that younger people haven't faced yet. Friends who've moved away or passed on, marriages that ended, children who are busy with their own lives. The social circle that once provided emotional support might have shrunk, making your past kindness seem especially precious. Here's what makes this complicated. Her need for comfort is genuine, and your past connection probably was meaningful to her. But comfort-seeking and love-building are two different things. One is about getting through today, the other is about building tomorrows together. If you suspect this is why she's returned, the wisest thing you can do is be honest about what you can offer. If you're content being a source of comfort and companionship without expectations, that can be a beautiful gift to give someone. But if you're hoping this return leads to the romantic relationship she once rejected, you're likely setting yourself up for disappointment. The kindest thing you can do for both of you is to gently clarify what kind of connection she's actually seeking. Sometimes being direct saves everyone from months of misunderstood intentions. So when she comes back, the question isn't just why, it's what you'll do with that truth.
By now, you understand the 4 true reasons that make women return after rejection. Realizing your value with time, unresolved emotional attachment, shifted life circumstances, or seeking comfort without commitment. Not every return means reconciliation. Sometimes it's closure, sometimes it's clarity, and sometimes it really is love rediscovered. The wisdom isn't in trying to figure out which reason applies. It's in being honest about what you want and what you can offer. If she returns because she's realized your worth, celebrate that recognition, but make sure the relationship can move forward, not backward. If it's unresolved feelings, explore them, but don't ignore practical compatibility. If life has changed, embrace the new possibilities. And if she's seeking comfort, decide whether that role serves your heart well. The deepest truth about love, as the ancient wisdom reminds us, is that the heart wants what it wants, but wisdom chooses what it needs. I treasure hearing from both men and women navigating these complex returns. Whether you've experienced this yourself, are currently wondering about someone's intentions, or have insights to share from your own journey, your stories add to our collective wisdom. Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us reach others who need this clarity. And subscribing ensures you'll never miss insights that can transform how you approach love and relationships. I've selected related videos in the description that explore building emotional resilience, recognizing authentic connection, and creating relationships that honor both your heart and your wisdom. Your journey toward love that truly serves you continues with each truth you embrace and each insight you make your own. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching my video.